Hey guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor and your leverage for change. Today I want to address the question of why it is so difficult. Why it is that a lot of people, I've found a lot of people who fear being alone or being single. And this can cause a lot of problems because, first of all, a lot of people who fear being alone or being single, they have this opinion of themselves that can lead to anxiety and depression and all kind of manner of different ailments, right? Emotionally, physically, right? Because we think society has, given us this template to live by that makes it appear that everything is built around couples, right? They've geared the society and the belief system towards like everybody should be a couple, right? And so singles and people who perceive themselves to be alone feel kind of out of the loop, like they're all kind of, they feel like maybe the third wheel, or they, in anything, because they might be with a couple but they're the only single ones there, or everybody else is married. And so society has given us this really bad template that allows people, that forces people who are not a part of a couple to feel as if something is wrong with them. And I want to say to you that you have to come to a place where you do not accept this view of who you are, or this opinion from society of what being single is, or what being alone means, right? So that's the first thing you have to change. You have to flip the script in your mind, because a lot of times it begins by you, that feeling of feeling less than and unworthy of being in a relationship and unloved and all that really comes from your interpretation of the fact what it is to be single or alone, right? Not being paired up with a partner or something like that. And so you feel as if you're not worthy of relationships. You don't feel like they are, you deserve to have relationships, or you feel something lacking if you are not in a relationship. And the way you can flip the script is that no, I'm not just going to accept any relationship. I'm looking for a relationship that where I'm going to be happy, and that is going to be a healthy relationship. So I'm not just going to jump into any relationship just because society says couples are more, like normal, whereas single people are, something is somehow wrong with them. So you have to flip that script and realize that being single is just your way of how you interpret that being singleness. That is what's going to affect how you see being single and how you cope with being single and alone. All right? Now, the reason why you have to really get to this place, guys, is because being single, and when you have this negative perception of being single, a lot of people, or being alone, this fear of being alone, a lot of people will end up in relationships that are not healthy, that is not going to serve them, just so that they will not be alone. And so they will seek out relationships and end up in relationships that this person may not love them, or but they feel that they just have to be in a relationship, and so they'll just take whatever. They settle for things that they do not want because they fear being single and being alone, right? They will just enter blindly into any relationship. Anybody who looks at them sideways, they're like, oh, I'm ready for a relationship. The kind of way they're like so hungry for a relationship just to satisfy the thing that they're in a relationship, a couple, they're a part of a couple, right? And so this can cause a lot of emotional pain and physical pain when they beat your butt. But yes, it causes all of that because people go into these things blindly and accept anything just to be a couple or just to be with someone, right? When they're not fulfilling your needs and they're not giving you, the relationship is toxic and degrading and everything you don't want, but you just have to be in a relationship because you just have to have somebody in your life, right? Now, the moment you can be single and happy is the most elevating, freeing moment of your life, because then you will not accept just anything or anyone because you're comfortable being by yourself. Now, how do you get to that place? That's a question, right? How do you get to that place? Well, first of all, ask yourself, why do I fear being alone? What is it about this thing that I fear so much? I mean, we're born alone and we're going to die alone, guys. It's a fact, right? But sometimes we get into this thing that we always have to have somebody around us. Oh my God, I have to have somebody. I have to have this, I have to have that. And so a lot of people, a lot of individuals never learn to be comfortable being just by themselves. Some people also they fear being by themselves because they don't like themselves. They don't like themselves. They don't like what they see. And so when they have to sit with themselves, by themselves, it's very uncomfortable. And so they go and seek out companionship and people and, whatever, men, women, whatever it might be, just to not have to face themselves, basically, right? So how do you get out of this cycle, this toxic cycle of always wanting to be with someone and always not feeling less than when you're not? Ask yourself why it is that you feel this way. It could be something from childhood. It could be your attachment style. This is particularly true of the anxious preoccupied because they always felt that these are individuals who will go into a relationship, as I mentioned, just to be in a relationship because they fear being alone. That's one of their most, the most difficult things that they have to deal with. So this especially is going to be for the anxious preoccupied, this fear of conquering the fear of being alone, basically, and accepting that being alone is fine, it's okay, it's not a death sentence, right? And so you try to find out why it is that you have this real need to have somebody all the time in your, and if it's your attachment style, then you have to answer the question and realize that you're no longer a child. You don't have to be alone. You can form different relationships. Not necessarily, you don't have to be in an intimate relationship to feel like you're a couple, to feel like you have someone. You can have maintain your relationship with your family members. Make friends. Go to places where people hang out and meet people. Get to know them. Make friends. Develop close friendships. You can do that now. Before, when you're a child, you didn't have that choice, but now you can say, no, that's not true. I'm not alone. I can make friends, right? I have that autonomy now to make friends, and I can choose my friends. Now, the next thing you have to ask yourself is, another thing could be that you may have been lost. You have to really think about these things. As a child, you may have been lost. Say that you were in the mall or in the supermarket and you got lost and you couldn't find your parents. You couldn't find your mom or your dad or whoever it was, and you just felt this overwhelming anxiety, of not being able to find your parents. Then that could be the reason. Then you could work on that. But ask yourself that question: why am I afraid of being alone? It could be that you grew up in a huge family and there was always somebody around. You were never alone, so now you don't have any clue how to be alone, right? And so you're always at the mercy of others because you have to have somebody else. You're always at the mercy of others when you cannot be comfortable being by yourself. All right. So what are some of the things that you could do? First of all, ask yourself, what do I need from others to make me feel fulfilled? What kind of goals do I have? and try and make plans to achieve those goals, then you're so focused on achieving those goals that you're no longer paying attention to yourself and being alone. And while you're achieving those goals, you'll meet other people that will have similar goals and they're going in the same direction, and you'll make friends, right? But the fact that if you just sit and moan and bemoan the fact that you're alone and you're single and you're just like worthless and nothing, good is gonna come to you and blah blah blah, and you sit down there and just feed yourself with all this negative self-talk, then what's going to happen is that you just sit there and then you get into depression and all kind of other mental illnesses that is not necessary. All right, the next thing you need to do is, what is it that I need? For example, with somebody from a dismissive avoidant, they need time to be alone. Oh well, no, you're perfect because you have time to be alone, right? But you also realize that in relationships, people need emotional connection, right? Now, how do I learn to emotionally connect to people? So little by little, you now try to put yourself out there and listen to people. You learn to listen and connect to them and so that you're fixing yourself in the meantime, so that when that person comes along, then you can now emotionally connect with them. Use this time, the time that you're single and alone, to work on yourself, so that when that person you fall in love with comes into your life, you meet somebody that you can have a good relationship with. Now you can also offer yourself in a good way to them, all the things that they will need, and also you can also reciprocate that thing to them, right? They need emotional connection. You can now do that, right? Because you've worked on yourself in this time of being alone. If you're somebody who feel that you are losing out because you don't have somebody to go anywhere with, right? Because as a couple, you have somebody else to travel with or do things with. Go out into find groups that you can travel in, in places that offers group travel. So you meet others. You might be going there alone, but you'll meet others there. Who knows? You might meet somebody who is compatible with you, and you might meet the person that you'll be a couple with. But don't go there looking for a partner, guys. Go there to enjoy yourself and enjoy the fact that you can now travel. You can travel on your own, and you can satisfy the needs that you want of traveling with others, right? Through this method of going on. Perhaps it's like meeting a group of individuals who are on the same bus traveling with you. So you're meeting the same people every day and forming relationships as well. So guys, being alone, I just wanted to really remind you, that being alone is not a death sentence. It frees you up to do so many things. Now you don't have to, this is a time when you don't have to consider what somebody else wants, and when you're a couple, you always have to be considering the other person's needs and wants, what they want to make them happy. And as a person who is single, you don't have to consider those needs. You work on what your needs are, fulfill those needs, right? By going, if it's somebody you want to take out, go to, if you're somebody who like going out to eat, go and eat by yourself. Go to dress up and go to dinner by yourself. Guys, it is going to be uncomfortable the first couple times. It is a new thing you're learning, but you're working on yourself. Don't try and get somebody else as a little crutch to try and, don't try and fit somebody else into your life just so you have somebody else. Do this on your own. Do this on your own so you learn to be comfortable with being alone. Okay, guys? This is one of the best things that you can do when you're single, is learn to be comfortable being alone, because it will now prevent you from just jumping into any relationship that comes along, right? Bad relationships, toxic relationships, and it will also give you a better feel of what your needs are, right? And that you can in fact satisfy a lot of your needs just by yourself, and you're getting to know and build a relationship with yourself, which a lot of especially anxious preoccupieds lose their sense of identity in their relationships, in a romantic relationships, because they have not taken the time to get to know who am I, what do I love, what are my needs, what are my wants. So they go into a relationship and they just basically morph into that person's life, and they just negate their own needs and give everything to that person, and after a while they don't realize, they don't even know who they are, right? And they feel lost, and then they get depressed, and all kind of craziness happens. All right, guys, so I hope that this has encouraged someone who really feel that they have to have somebody else to be alone. I've been alone for quite a long time, and I am happy, guys. I go out with my friends, I go take myself to dinner, I go to the park by myself, I travel by myself. You have to get to that place where you're comfortable with yourself, so you don't accept just anybody in as a partner, so that you take your time to get to be comfortable, and you love yourself and you care for yourself, and it is empowering and freeing at the same time. So guys, I hope you've learned something from this. This is Christine, your relationship and mindset mastery doctor, and your leverage for change. Please, if you've learned something from this, please like, share my video, as well as please subscribe to my channel, so that as soon as I upload something new, that you will be notified. Okay guys, until next time, take care.